Making the not so obvious, obvious.
This video is part of Shut Up and Shoot, that famous ebook, you know, the one you should be getting now. Hello and welcome to the fundamentals tutorial. I suppose we could call it fundamentals. It's really simple stuff. But this has to do with Sony Vegas, and this is the Sony Vegas fundamental, how to set up a project correctly so that you get a good start in processing your stock footage. One of the most important things to remember on all products, regardless of what nonlinear editing system you use, is if you bring garbage in, you're going to get garbage out. There is no if, and, or buts about it. So in Sony, I've opened up Sony. I didn't want to make you sit here waiting for it to load. I'm just going to pretend that we are opening a new project. So I'm just going to click on New, and it comes up with this new project window. And this is kind of important because if this is not set correctly, you will have problems down the line. In today's stock footage world, predominantly, you're going to be outputting high definition footage, or HD 30p or 60i or whatever it is. On this side, we're actually more concerned about what's coming in. So we want to make the project match what our footage or raw footage is. So for example, if I'm shooting with a Sony HVR A1U HDV camcorder, then I need to make sure I select the correct settings, which in this case happens to be 60 frames interlaced, or interlaced footage at 1920 by 1080. Now, is that absolutely correct? It is and it isn't, and I'm going to explain that real quick. In the Sony world, HDV actually means 1440 by 1080. And you'll notice that there is a pixel aspect ratio of 1.333. That means simply that if I bring that footage into true HD, you'll notice that the pixel aspect ratio goes to 1.0 square. And that is because Sony's software, along with their cameras, knows how to expand those files to the full 1920 very nicely. So if we go back to the 30 or the 60i HDV, if we multiply 1440 times 1.333, then we end up getting basically 1920 by 1080. And you'll notice this is interlaced, which is a big giveaway right here by field order. It doesn't say progressive, it says upper field first. So check with your camera specifications to see what it is. Another example would be the Canon series HD SLR cameras. For example, a 5D Mark II, a 7D, a T2i, a T3i, whatever have you. Now that's a little bit of a different game. There, we're talking 30p. In other words, 30 frames progressive, truly at 1920 by 1080. So you need to really make sure you know what you're bringing in. And that is very, very important. But let's say you didn't know and you had the setting here at, well, just for all intents and purposes, we're set at HDV, which is at 1440 by 1080, and I set the project to that. Now I'm going to go out and get some footage, and that I just so happen to have, by coincidence, for this demo. What a coincidence. In any case, here I have some footage, and you'll notice the minute I click on the footage, it starts telling me what kind of footage it is. And it says it's 1920 by 1080 by 1229.97 frames per second. It's also Sony AVC, which is a compressed MP4, or in some cases people call this H.264 because it came from a Canon camera. Not 100% correct, but we'll live with it. I'm just going to bring in one of these pieces of footage right now, and obviously it's not going to match because The project is set at 1440, the preview is 1440, but my footage, if I go to properties, is 1 square, and it is 1920 by 1080. So I need to do something about that, because remember, garbage in, garbage out. So what I'm going to do is simply go back and go to properties of the project itself and change this setting to 30p and apply that, and now everything is honky-dory because we have our project set correctly, our preview is set correctly, and now the footage is going to be a happy camper. One of the other things, if you're doing stock footage, you can pretty quickly, unless it's really cool sounds or a special sound effect, just delete the soundtrack. You're not going to need it, because buyers particularly only want the footage unless, like I said, it's really interesting sound, like a, you know, an explosion or something that goes with the footage that's very unique. In any case, this is part 1. The next part, I'm going to show you how you create new project settings, because as new cameras come out, you may have to get new settings, and Sony only has so many settings available. Thanks for watching.